First Lady of Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, why don't you give out the rest of my phone number while you're at it?
Well, we want you to change your number every
Hello.
2 minutes. So, nah. Are you still with us?
Yeah. Not like I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
No, we only give out the area
Can you hear
codes.
me?
That's all. Oh yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, cool.
So
how are you?
Are you? You're in. I'm doing fine, Missy. How about you?
Okay, I'm doing okay.
Good. You still in New York City?
No, I moved to Florida. My dad passed away a couple months ago.
I'm sorry to hear that.
You know, listen, thank you, but you know what? He was almost 91 years old. He had a great life, you know, and he did. He had a great life. But I was worried about my mom. I didn't want my mom living alone. So I sold my business and I moved down. I'd rather, you know, my mom's never lived alone. And, you know, I didn't want her to live alone. Even though my brother and my sister are like less than a half a mile away, but still, you know, I like being at home. And she let me bring my 3 Jack Russells. So.
Well, of course, in Florida's nothing against New York City, but I mean, personally, I'd rather be in Florida.
Oh, but I miss New York a lot, though. There's just something about it. I mean, I moved away from it one time, and I was only gone for a few years, and I had to move back. So, I mean, I like the weather down here, even though it's hot.
Well, of course, you like to walk around in your bikini and show your attributes.
Oh, yeah, right. I haven't done that in a long time, but okay. Now, listen, I have some questions for you. Can I ask you the questions?
Well, I'll try my best to skate.
Ones.
I'll skate around the answers to go ahead.
No, come on now, because I got some good ones.
Oh,
you ready?
Well, I'll try.
Okay, how big was the angle in which you blinded Jackie Fargo that resulted in him teaming with Roughhouse Fargo against the Blonde Bombers?
Oh, gosh, that was one of our big things that we did. It didn't last a long time because Jackie never stayed around very long. He'd come in, do a few things, then leave, and that's one of the things. In fact, I might talk when I talk to Jerry Jarrett on his radio show. We'll talk about that. You know, Jerry's such a pleasure. Gosh, his mind is so sharp on things like that, like you just mentioned. That I totally had forgotten about.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Well, do you want some more? I got more. Okay. Why was Danny Davis used more as a manager than a wrestler when he worked with you and Larry Latham in Memphis? Because I think Danny Davis is a great worker.
Danny was fabulous. He was fantastic. Now, what happened was when Danny was first brought in, he was brought in through the Buddy Fuller Wrestling School, which was out in the countryside about 50 miles from Memphis, and all those guys lived on a farm. And at that point in time, Danny wasn't as good in the ring. He was still in his training process. So in between on his days off, he would go back to the training center and train, and the rest of the time, once he started getting into 6-man matches with us and things like that, then and just riding in the car with myself and Larry Booker, Larry Latham, who was for the fans out there, Spot Moondog, just being around us for a couple of years gave him a hell of an education.
Oh my God, that would be a real, I would love that education. Let me tell you. How? I don't mean it like that. Come on, you know what I'm talking about, the business wise.
Well, it was a good education for Danny. In fact, it cost him a divorce, but
doesn't it always?
Well,
anything good,
always.
It does. Okay, so how were your matches against Bill Dundee and Jerry Lawler when it was versus the Blonde Bombers for the tag team titles?
Oh, just Bill was one of those guys where you better not take your eye off of him, because at any given moment he could shoot across the ring as fast as anyone, hit you in the side of the head, laugh and turn and run back to the corner. It was like, I can't be comfortable, Bill, but would you please stop running across, hitting me in the jaw? And he would just laugh. And finally, if we had an outdoor show at a football stadium or somewhere like that, or a baseball park, I was in pretty good shape at the time. I'd chase him. I could almost catch him, but I could never catch him. But Jerry
those
Lawler,
little
of
ones,
course,
they're slippery, aren't they?
Yes, but we had fabulous matches because both those guys were such great professionals in the ring, and they led us around. We were just young punks. We didn't know anything. All we did was take bumps.
Well, what did you think about Michael Hayes and Terry Gordy, who worked underneath at the same? Didn't they work there at the same time period?
They came in at the same, pretty much. Well, they came in a little bit after we had already had our Tupelo concession stand run and all of that nonsense that we had done. That is still talked about today. Jerry Jarrett, when he was on our show a few weeks ago, he said that there's two things that people always ask him. They ask about the Tupelo concession stand match and the thing that Andy Kaufman in Memphis. He said, of all the work I did in 40 years, that's two things people want to talk about. But you know,
yeah, but they were awesome.
Michael and Terry were a great combination. And I've always said this about good tag teams. It takes two different kinds of people. You can't be the same. You can't look the same. You can't walk or act the same. You can't have the same body type. Michael was the razzmatazz, song and dance man, pretty much like me. And Terry was the hardcore get down and wrestle a guy and the big strong bully of the bunch. And
kick ass.
Yes, and I remember they had come out of Atlanta.
Buddy was the battering ram that they always threw in there, and they took all the crazy bumps.
They didn't bring Buddy. He didn't come over with them. He joined them after they had left Memphis, I think. But I remember the first match they put us against them in Louisville, Kentucky, and they were to come in to be bad guys, and of course we were the top bad guys, and we didn't want to lose our spot. So I says to Larry, what do you think we need to do? He says, well, if these guys get over, they're going to get rid of us. I said, well, what do you think we need to do? And he says, as soon as they come out to the ring, we'll drop down and beg. Please don't touch us. And automatically, and they became baby faces, and poor old Terry, now he'd been working for a long time. He was smart. He knew what we were doing. But Michael was like, what's going on? People are cheering for us. We want to be bad guys.
I love it. That's the best. All right, whatever happened to the Dream Machine, Troy Graham? Didn't he do pretty well in Memphis as a masked face? Yeah. I had left when Troy had come in, but I met Troy the first wrestling match I ever had. That after I left, my trainer sent me up to Malden, Missouri, where the promoter looked like Slim Whitman. Remember Malden,
Slim
Missouri.
Whitman?
I've heard of that place. I've heard of Malden, Missouri. I think from
anyway, Yes, I went there. Everyone went there, and the first night I was in the locker room.
Everybody went there.
Yep, here was the hippie Troy Graham. That's what he went by, and his matches and his attire, it all looked like Mike Boyette, the hippie Mike Boyette, and that's where I met Troy, and we became friends there. And he helped me get into Greenwood. It was at Greenwood or Greenville, Mississippi, where Frankie Kane and Jake the Snake, Jake's dad, they were running a territory. And Troy Graham, the Dream Machine, helped me get there. And then his lifelong thing, Troy always wanted to wrestle in Memphis, always, and they would never give him, for some reason. They would never give the fellow a job, and he was a great performer. But they finally did. Jimmy Hart got him in there as the first family, and he did tremendous work. And just, he passed away long before his time, too.
Oh, yeah, that happens a lot. Okay, well, you worked in Florida in 1979. What did you think about Eddie Graham as a booker?
He did fabulous work, but at the time, Eddie was not doing all the booking when I was there. It was Buddy Rogers, and Buddy Rogers was, and Jerry Briscoe and myself talked about this at Cauliflower Alley. I said, Jerry, the bad thing about it was you guys doing great business, but Buddy Rogers, he was killing everyone. I mean, it didn't matter. He was going out having 30-second, 60-second matches, beating Joe LeDuc, beating Sonny King. He was worse.
That's what
he
I
was
was going to do. I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you what kind of shape Buddy Rogers was in during his wrestling in Florida. So I guess
Well,
answer that for me.
I mean, he was like.
Was it true that he would book himself over at the expense of everybody else? Would he, is it true that he would put himself over?
And you know, Eddie Graham let him do it for a while, but Eddie Graham was extremely smart, like Jerry Jarrett, and Eddie Graham understood that, you know, sooner or later he's gonna play out, and he did. He played out, and Jerry Briscoe took back over doing the booking, and of course Dusty sometimes.
I got something to say, though, about Jerry Jarrett. You said that he was really on the ball and he's with it and everything. He came up to me like a year ago and said that years ago in 1980-something or other, before I was even chasing wrestlers, he said that he put a figure 4 on me.
Well,
was it me?
I don't know. I'm not sure Jerry Jarrett
I just thought it was so funny. I was like, Yeah, well, you know, I'm just saying that's what he said to me. I don't know. Maybe that line's worked with him in the past with other babes. I don't know. But
no, I don't know.
I'm a little too old to be trying to throw that on me.
I think the first time I met you, Jake Roberts had the figure 4 on you.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, well. Yeah.
We're in it.
And now I have an abusive relationship with my Jack Russell named Jake, and he was already named Jake when I got him. I did not name him Jake, but I know when you saw him, you're like, yeah, Jake, you named him after Jake Roberts.
But I met you guys were doing great business there in Atlanta, and everyone living at the old Falcons Rest over there, whatever that was, a den of sin.
Yeah, but we didn't live there. We lived way out by Stone Mountain.
Yeah, because you were from around that area. Or were you working there somewhere in the?
No, I'm from Florida.
But you were doing something in Atlanta, though, not.
Yeah.
You were. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how you started with the wrestling.
Yeah.
You kind of started in Atlanta.
Yeah, basically.
You were like one of the first valet type. Well, you were, and not to be you worked. You know, Moolah and those girls, they were all wrestlers, and here you came out as, you know, dressed
they were
really
wrestlers.
nice.
I wasn't a wrestler. And you know what? I have to hand it to the girls nowadays, because the girls nowadays that have to go out there and take bumps and do all that stuff, because if they would have came and told me, oh, you're going to do this bump and that bump, I'd be like, get the hell out of here. I'm not breaking a nail.
Right. It was.
I don't mind doing cat fights, because cat fights is easy and it's fun, and it's only a few, 3 minutes is as much as you can do a cat fight, and then you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I just think the girls shouldn't wrestle like guys, and I really don't think girls should wrestle. I don't mind them cat fighting, because I think that's entertaining. But to have a girl go out and do matches, I don't think it's very entertaining, because they can't wrestle like a guy.
No, and that's the thing that's changed about lady wrestling, and that they're not girl wrestlers or ladies anymore; they're divas. Is the fact that they all, look the same and act the same, and do this. They do all these matches. It's like more than the men can do.
They all look like Missy Hyatt.
Well, they try to. We're going to take a hard break here, and I come back. We're going to talk Linda Hogan's book.
I got some more questions for you.
Well, and I've got some for you too about your book and the books that the women write and the books that the men write and how they're different. We'll talk about that.
Okay, fans, stay with us. We'll be right back on Shake Rattle Roll with the First Lady of Wrestling and HGM. We'll be back in a few moments.
This is the Honky Tonk Man, the greatest WWE Intercontinental Champion of all time, and every Monday night, you're going to shake, rattle, and roll.